No. Hey there, my gorgeous friends on the internet. In this episode, we're gonna take vanilla JavaScript and we're gonna create a drum machine. As you can see down here, we have some colorful pads. When we click on them, they make various sounds and we can create cool beats with them. And we also have these colorful balls because, hey, who doesn't like colorful balls? I swear to God, if colorful balls demonetizes me, I'm gonna get your laptop ready, get your coffee ready, don't spill it like I did, and let's get coding. Alrighty, so the only thing that we need to start are basically these sounds, and you can get them on my GitHub repo, so you can download them, and that's basically all we need. Also, shout out to Patab because that's where these sounds are from. Okay, so we have the sounds, and we can create an index.html, and let's get started doing the markup. Come on, why you do this? It's trying to add it to the folder. New, okay, index.html, it's outside of the folder now. Good, all right, let's generate a project. We're gonna name this tap music because we're tapping with our fingers to create music. I'm gonna create a header here. And basically what I want here is let's actually create a whole section for this app because I'm gonna add a display flex to everything. And let's just name this app, okay? So we have a whole app and it's just one screen. That's all we need. And here I'm gonna have a header and I'm just gonna add a H1 to this that's gonna say tap music. And I'm gonna also add a paragraph here that's gonna say make music with only one tap. Let's add one tap. There we go, perfect. The next section I'm gonna create is called visual. So we're gonna create a div with the visual, and these are basically all the visual elements that are gonna pop up on the screen. I'm really trying hard not to say colorful balls, but that's basically where everything is gonna go there. Okay, and for the last section, we're gonna create one called pads. So these are the actual clickable things. So I'm gonna include all of them here, and the way we do that is I'm just gonna create a div called pads, and then we're gonna add the individual pads like so. So it's gonna be pad 1, pad 2, I'm just gonna copy these 6 times because I think we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the reason why I'm making a div here, because we're gonna add an audio track in here, and I'm just gonna grab each one. So I'm just gonna go through each one like so. The reason why I'm adding this div is because we cannot style the audio tag. We cannot add styles to them. Now in music, you generally want to have style in your music, but in HTML and CSS, you cannot add styles to the audio track. That was a horrible joke. I'm sorry. Let's move on. I need to go to the doctor. Okay, that's one. The second one is audio, and let's just go through each of them. So sounds, we're gonna get the clay. Third one, and I'm just gonna repeat this for each and every one. Confetti, we're gonna go to this one, audio, it's gonna be source, I'm just gonna add a /, glimmer, and the last one, audio, is gonna be, it's not the last one, moon, and I think the last one is UFO. I'm not sure why, but audio, this one's gonna be UFO. All right, that's all we need here. Now I'm gonna quickly go up here. I'm gonna add a link tag and we're gonna just create a CSS, style.css. We're gonna link it up here. And I'm also gonna add, my voice is going away. I'm also gonna add this monserrat font here. So let's go to select font. You can go to fonts.google.com, click this. I'm gonna just copy, where's the copy? I forgot. I'm just gonna grab everything here. Just paste it above the CSS tag. Hit save, and I'm also gonna copy the font family so I can add it to the body, just so everything is on Montserrat. All right, let's go to styles. I'm gonna just grab everything here with the star. I'm gonna add a margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box, just to add a simple reset. Now we can open up live server and see what we got. Look at that, beautiful. Perfect. And for now, actually, I'm gonna quickly just jump back to our index.html, and I'm gonna add in here the visual. I'm just gonna add a H1 with visual just so we see everything kinda, a representation of the section. Okay, so that's what we got. I'm gonna grab the body and I'm just gonna add this font family of Montserrat. Perfect. Now we can get the app, so the big thing, and we can add a display flex to that. So I'm just gonna add a a height of 100 VH, just so it's full screen. We're gonna add a display flex, flex direction column, so it goes like this, a justify content space around, and a align item center. All right, hit save, and basically everything comes down like so. So here is gonna be the title, here is gonna be our visual, and down here are gonna be the pads. Actually, space here is too much, so let's just add space between, so everything is like kind of, and this is like all the way up here, this one is going to be perfectly in the center, and this one's going to be all the way down here. So I'm going to change this to space around, space between, like so. And I'm just going to add a bit of margin to this. So that's all we need there. I'm just going to quickly grab the header H1, I'm going to add a margin. I'm going to do 50 pixels top, and the way this works is like clockwise, top, right, bottom, and left. So the first one we're going to do is 50, which is top. Second one, right. I don't want to add anything to the right, so I'm going to add 0 there. We're going to do 30 pixels to the bottom, and then we're going to do 0 pixels again. So 50 here, nothing here, 30 pixels here, and 0 here, okay? Just clockwise. That's all you need to know. I'm going to add a text align center to this, and we're also going to make this way bigger, 40 pixels. There we go. And that's all we need. Should we make this one bigger too? Header P, font size, let's do 25. Is it too big? It's too big. Let's go to 20. All right, that's good. Okay, I'm happy. It's not amazing, but I'm happy. All right, that's all we need. The visual part we're gonna do last. So let's just get the pads going. I'm just gonna get the pads, and I'm gonna add a background of light blue just so we can visualize everything. I've used light blue I think 10,000 times already, so we cannot see anything yet. I need to add a width of 100%, like so, and let's leave it like this because I want to show you something cool. Now again, we are not seeing any pads because they don't have any height or width, and we don't have any content in them, so the divs are not going to show up. Okay, so these pads are not going to show up because we don't have anything in them. So cool way we can select all of them and add basic styles to them is we can do pads like so, and then we can select all the divs inside the pads. Okay, just so we don't have to go through each individual divs and add like a height and a width to them. So for this, I'm just gonna add a height of 100 pixels and a width of 100 pixels. Okay, hit save, and now again we're not seeing anything, but this goes crazy, which is fine. We're just gonna remove this background. Actually, let's leave it, and we need to add basically all the colors to them. So I'm gonna add pad 1, and I'm just gonna do background, and I have the colors saved here, so it's gonna be 60D394. That's the first one. The second one's gonna be background. We're gonna do D36060. Again, you can choose random colors here. I just picked out a few. Background, we're gonna do C060D3. And pad 4, we're almost done with the pane, I promise. D3D160, and actually this is not gonna work, obviously, so let's add the background. 4, let's do 5. You know, I'm lazy, I'm just gonna copy this, paste it in here, and then I'm gonna just kind of hover over this, and we have this nice thing in VS Code. Then I can just kind of scroll through everything and just pick another color. So let's do padding 6, and this one we'll change it to something. We have yellow, I don't even know. Aqua? Let's go aqua. There we go. Let's see. So we have these going up here. Okay, so this basically stretched because they're all going down in the column, which is what basically happens in HTML. If you add content, everything is going to go down from up to down in columns. But we can change this behavior again if we add display flex to the pads. And everything is just gonna work like magic. So up here at the pads, we can just add a display flex, bada bing, bada boom, everything is fixed. Take a look at that. But I kind of want to stretch these so they're not too close to each other. So to stretch them, we can just go to the pads div here, and I can add a flex 1, which basically stretches to the available space. And there we go. That's all we need here. We can actually get rid of this visual, and then we can implement our animation. But for now, let's get going with JavaScript. So let's create a JavaScript file. I'm going to do index.js right in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a window.addEventListener, and on load, I'm going to run a function like so. I'm going to run an arrow function. What this basically does is after the content is loaded, the code in here is going to run. So I'm going to create a few constants here, a few variables. I'm going to name one sounds, and I'm just going to get each sound from our index.html. So I'm getting all of these. Okay. The way we can do that is we can do document.querySelector. I'm going to do querySelector all, and I'm going to add a .sound. Okay. Now the problem is I didn't add a class to these, so let's just add a class. So we have a class on the divs, but we don't have a class on the audio. So I just want to go on these and add a class of sound to each audio track. I'm just going to copy this and paste it to each individual sound. So we have all the sounds stored in here. Now we can also store the pads, so the things that we're clicking on, and that's going to be document.querySelector all. Again, make sure it's all, and then we can do pads, and I'm going to get all the divs and the pads. So not the big one, pads is going to be the big one. This one is the parent. I want to get all these small ones, okay, with the sounds. So that's why I'm doing pads div. It's going to select all the divs inside this big pads div. All right, now is the visual, should we do the visual? No, we're not doing the visual. We're going to do that at the end. Okay, so let's just make sure that we have sound going on. So let's get going with the sound here. All right, I'm just going to leave a comment like so. And the way we can do that is we can get all the pads, and for each pad, so I'm going to loop over these, and I have access to all the single pads in here. I can add a event listener to each one of them. So pad.addEventListener, and basically whenever I click on each pad, I'm going to run a function. Now, careful, I'm going to do a normal function here, so I have access to the keyword this, which is going to refer to the pad. All right? So in here, what we can do now is we can play the sound. Now, how do we play the sound? Well, we can access the sounds like so, and I need like the number, because this is going to be I need to access it like with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Because this is basically a collection here. All right, so 0 being the first sound, 1 being the second, 2, 3, 4. All right, if I just console log, and we can console log it down here just to make sure. So console log sounds, and let's see what we got actually to make sure everything is clear. If we take a look, console, and nothing's happening because I didn't link it in HTML, which happens too often, and it's not good. Source, oh, not source, script. It's been a long day today. Source, and I'm gonna go to index.js, hit save, and let's take a look, and it's gonna say sounds is not defined. Why is sounds not defined? Well, we have function scope, so everything in here is only available in here. So sounds, since it's in this one, it's not going to be available in the global scope. So we have to copy this from here and actually paste it in here, and then we're going to have access to it. Let's take a look. As you can see, we have a node list, 0 being the first sound, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to access them, we have to do sound 0. That's going to be the first sound. And as you can see, bubbles. Perfect. But how can we do this? How can we access each sound? Well, what we also have access to in this for each, if we just add parentheses on top and I add a comma, we also get access to index. Index being the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the number of each sound. So what we can do here is we can just call sounds, let's call sounds like so, and rather we can do play, but we need to select each individual one. So I'm going to do sounds index.play. All right, and if I hit save and we go back here, well, that's way too loud. I apologize. So let me actually lower the sound here on the desktop. All right, even more. That's too loud. So whenever we click, we get the sound playing. The problem is if I click this one and I try to click multiple times, it doesn't work. As you can see, I'm clicking like crazy. It doesn't work. Now, if I go through each one, it does work, but the track needs to finish before we can click again, which is a big problem. So how can we fix that? Well, the problem is that the current time keeps on going. And what we need to do is before we play the sound, we actually need to reset the current time. And by resetting the current time, when we click, it's always gonna start. Because the way it works now is, again, the track needs to finish, so all the 3 seconds. And it's not gonna play again because it keeps on playing. But if we reset the sound when we start clicking again, then it's gonna play normally. So big words, what I'm trying to say is just get the sounds and the index the way we do it. We did it down here, and we can just add the current time, and we can just reset that to 0. That's it, okay? I know I'm speaking so much and it makes no sense, but it's as simple as that. So now if we click again, we can click multiple times without having any issues. All right, so we resetted the current time, and the only thing left to do now is to add the visual flare. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back here to our index.html, and I'm gonna remove the visual h1 here that I added because we don't need this anymore. So let's get rid of this and the h1 here. Perfecto, save. All right, and back here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get that visual div. So const visual is equals to document.query selector. It's gonna be a normal selector, and I'm gonna just do visual like so. All right, perfect. Now I'm actually gonna get the colors from the style.css. I want you to take each one of these and copy them into an array. I'm going to do it very quickly because I have it saved here just so we don't waste time. So just copy them and add them to a string like so. And that's all we need here. So whenever we click on a pad, that specific color is going to pop up with the bubble. All right, perfect. So now what we're going to do is besides this, so we have this, we're going to go down here before the last bracket, and we're going to create a function that makes bubbles like so. All right, so const, don't ask me why I added these bubbles. I thought it was very cool for some reason, but I'm going to create a function called create bubbles. I'm going to set this equal to an arrow function. So we're going to add an arrow function. And in here, what I want to do is I'm going to create a bubble. So I'm going to say const bubble, like so. It's going to be equal to document.createElement. We're going to create an element out of thin air. And what I'm going to create is a div. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that div, this bubble that we just created, and I'm going to attach it to this big visual div. So this one, we're going to add all the bubbles in here. So we can just add visual dot append child. And then what we can do is we can just add this bubble in here. All right, so we're attaching the bubble to the visual div. Okay, so now what we can do is we can just change the bubble.style.background color. It's going to be equal to colors. All right, the colors. And in here, so this one, how do we get the each individual, so whatever we click on? Well, we have index in here, so I'm going to just grab the index from here and paste it in here. Now, this is not going to work here in this function, but if we execute it in here, we can just add the index and pass it down in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this index, I'm going to add it to this function here, and when we execute it now, I'm going to just execute create bubbles up here. I can just pass this index from up here down here. So basically, this goes from here in this function. It's going to go all the way in here, and it's going to go in here. All right, perfect. So that's what we have. And now what we can do is we can just add a bubble.style.animation. It's going to be equal to, I'm going to create a jump 1 second with ease. Okay. Perfect. Hit save, And let's create this jump thingy. Alrighty, let's create the keyframes for this. All we have to do is add a keyframes like so, and we can make this jump. What we want to do is start from 0%. I'm going to do 50% and also 100%. So let's get 100% here as well. I want to start from bottom 0. Okay, so all the way from the bottom. And then what I want to do is start from left like 20%. And let's also add, in the middle, it's going to be all the way from bottom 50%. So it's going to go in half of the screen vertically. And then left is also going to be in the center. And down here, I'm just going to go back to 0%. And left is going to be 80%. And down here, what we want to do is we can get the visual, and I'm going to get all the divs in the visual because that's what we're going to create. And I'm going to add a position absolute to them. And then what we were going to do is I'm going to add a height of 50 pixels. That's how the size that we're going to add to the colorful balls. There we go, 50. So make sure everything is the same. Border radius is going to be 50%, just so we can make them nice and round. And I think that's going to be it. I'm going to add a bottom of 0. So this is the position we're going to start off from. Let's take a look. And as you can see, it goes up like that. Very cool. Now there are a few problems with this. Problem 1 being that this one is in the front here and I kind of want to put it in the back. So to do that, it's super simple. We can just go up here to the visual div and we can add a z index of -1, and that's going to hide it behind like so. Another problem with this is performance. This is terrible for performance. And what I mean by that is if we go on this visual class here, as you can see, we're creating these bubbles, but they're never ending. They're going, look at that. Oh my goodness, our app is gonna crash. So we don't want this to happen. What we want to do is we want to create one, and when it leaves off screen or when the animation ends, we want to get rid of it. All we have to do is get the bubble, all right, because this is what we want to remove, and add an event listener, an animation end to this. So after the animation ends, we're going to run a simple function. Now, what do we want to do in this simple function? Simple, we're going to get the visual, okay, so the big parent class that has all the bubbles, and we're going to add a dot remove child. Now, what are we removing? Well, this bubble. And since we're doing a normal function, we can just say this, just remove this. Hit save. Let's go back to our app. F12, let's take a look, hit it. Let's open this up. App, we have the visual, click, 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 click. As you can see, they get removed right after the animation ends. So we can go crazy. And that's it for me today, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this project. Let me know what you think. I cannot believe we're almost at 7,000 subscribers. This is going crazy. What are you guys doing to me? Oh my goodness. I might go full time. I don't even know. It looks like I'm gonna teach on YouTube. Awesome things, and I'm happy with that. So again, I really want to thank you. Thank you so much. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Colored balls.